What prompted me to do this book was the announcement of the closure of the independent newspaper which I'd worked for as a photographer for 21 years. And really was on the day that they announced the closure that I decided I wanted to commemorate the work that I'd done and to publish some of the photographs which I'd taken on assignment or had been published by the Independent or the Independent on Sunday since I started working for them in 1995. A lot has changed in photography and journalism in the last 2 decades. I was using film cameras back then. There wasn't the need for turning stories around quite as quickly. The digital revolution hadn't arrived, so you had a little bit more time to spend on stories. You had a little bit more time to work on features. By the end, when I was working for them, literally everything had to be done in such a rush and a hurry that it didn't give you as much time to sort of be more considered about your photography. The Independent became a tabloid newspaper in the early 2000s, and after that, I think they changed the style, they changed the mentality as well. So you didn't have as much time and resource to work on stories, but it was still a great paper to work for. I felt that the book should more reflect the style of photography rather than the content of individual stories. I didn't want to have to explain too much exactly what was going on. I wanted each picture to be able to sit on a page and be a standalone picture, a picture that people could look at and derive their own story from. So it was an aesthetic judgment I was making about which pictures were selected for the book. I was approximately, I think, 3.5 miles away from Ravenscraig, from the site itself, on a hill on the other side of the M74 with a huge big long lens. And I had no idea exactly when the explosion was going to take place to demolish the towers. So it was just a case of looking through the lens and then just seeing the first little puff of smoke from the explosion and watching the towers just gently falling silently. And then once they'd all collapsed, about a minute later, the sound actually travelled the 3.5 miles, and I got the sound of the explosion in a sort of delayed reaction.